A small thing happened the moment I walked in. The priority desk sign shifted off its original angle, tilting a few degrees left, though no one touched it. Several people looked at the sign, then at me. No one spoke. I stood at the end of the line. A woman pushed her son into the spot ahead of me. The boy looked at my hoodie for a few seconds, then gripped his mother's hand. I kept my hands in my pocket. The back room door opened. Marcus Hill stepped out. Dark vest. Red tie off center. He moved his eyes across each person. When he reached my spot, his look paused briefly, then moved on. The counter opened. I stepped forward, placed the check on the desk, right by the glass edge. Marcus asked, "Yours?" I said, "Yes." He pulled the check closer. Didn't open it. Didn't run it through the machine. Didn't enter a code. "This isn't valid," Marcus said. I looked at the desk, said nothing. He opened the drawer, took out a lighter, flicked it. The flame touched the corner of the check. The paper curled. The ink faded. A burn line moved toward the number row. Emily Brooks stood a few steps away. She lifted her phone to record. "Something's happening," she told her viewers. Marcus raised the burning sheet, turned it so the people behind could see. A few customers leaned in to watch. He dropped the sheet to the floor. The small flame died. Marcus pressed his heel on it. "Done." The ash broke apart. Some specks landed on my shoe. Marcus said, "You think you can use this here?" I answered. I gave the correct paper. He looked at my hoodie. My shoes. Not my face. Marcus stepped closer. "ID." I handed the wallet. He pulled it out of my hand before I could open it. Flipped through each card. Didn't run any machine check. "These don't match," Marcus said. "I'm keeping them." I said. "Return it." "No." He put the wallet into his vest pocket. I checked the wall clock. R. Kirksik is PM. Marcus pointed toward the chairs by the glass wall. "Sit there." I walked to the seat. Sat down. Ash moved with my steps. Two young men near the ATM recorded video. One said, "Keep filming. This'll go viral." Linda Fox, Chanel bag on her shoulder, looked at me, then at the ash. No comment. Marcus stepped in front of me. "Name?" "David Carter." "All right." He said it without looking at me. Emily moved her phone closer. "Guys, he's just sitting there like nothing." I checked my watch. R. Kirk 9 PM. Marcus bent down, picked a piece of ash with a number still visible, looked at it for a few seconds. "This is what you brought to the bank." I answered. "I brought the original paper." He dropped the ash next to my shoe. Sarah Mitchell, assistant manager, stood behind the counter. Her hand hovered above the keyboard. She looked at me, then at Marcus. Didn't step in. Marcus walked back to the counter, used his shoe to push the ash away. A customer said loudly, "Good. Handle it firmly." Marcus replied, "I'm following the procedure." I looked at him. "You haven't checked the system." Marcus turned back. "I don't need to." I stayed silent. R. Elipeme. Marcus walked toward me again. Stood close. "Police are coming. Don't move." I answered, "I'm not going anywhere." A customer in a suit said, "Yeah. Keep him right there." Marcus placed his hand on the vest pocket holding my wallet. Didn't remove it. Just kept his hand there. Emily spoke into her live stream. "Viewers are going up. This guy burned a check." I checked my watch. R. Elibir. P.M. Marcus took my wallet out. Set it on the counter. The sound was loud enough for people nearby to turn. I looked at the wallet. "That belongs to me." Marcus said, "When this is over, I'll return it." I said, "I need it back." "No," he said. I stood. Phones lifted higher. Tom Reeves stepped closer. "What are you trying to do?" "I just want my property back," Tom said. "Hold on." I looked at Marcus. "You burned the paper. You didn't ask me anything." Marcus answered, I could see enough. I said, "You didn't look at the front of the check." He stayed quiet. I walked toward the counter. Tom walked with me. Didn't block. Just stayed near. I pointed at the wallet. "Return it." Marcus didn't. He placed his hand on it. "No." I said. "Give it back." "No." He repeated. I checked the wall clock. R. Eliki, pay. I told Marcus, "You should reconsider what you think you saw." Marcus said, "I don't need to review anything." I replied, "Then look at this." I reached into my hoodie, pulled out a white card. No pattern. No special background. I set the card on the counter, a few centimeters from my wallet. Marcus said, "What's this?" I said, "Read it." He bent down. His eyes followed the lines. Emily said to her phone, "Looks like something's up." Tom stepped closer, looked at the card. "Read it." Silent. Sarah lifted her hand from the keyboard, walked out from behind the counter, stood next to Marcus. She looked at the card. I stayed quiet. No explanation. No argument. Marcus stared at the card for a few more seconds. His hand came off my wallet. No resistance left. I took the wallet from the counter. No one blocked me. I put it back into my jacket pocket. Didn't change my expression. I said one short line. "You just burned the money of the person who owns this bank." No one answered me. No one spoke. Only the ceiling vent made a sound. I checked the time. R. L-U-T p.m. I added, steady and low. "You just burned my money." Marcus didn't speak. Sarah didn't speak. Tom didn't speak. The crowd didn't speak. Only cameras are recording. I placed my hand on the counter edge. "Now," I said. "We handled this from the beginning." The room stayed exactly as it was when I said the last line. No one has reacted yet. Phone still raised. Ash was still scattered in front of the counter. My wallet is already back in my jacket. I placed the white card in the center of the counter. No turning. No sliding. It lay flat. Text facing Marcus. Marcus looked at me. Then at the card. He didn't touch it yet. I said, "Read it." Marcus bent down. His eyes moved across the small printed line. No one else in the room knew what the card said. Only he saw it first. Emily pushed her phone closer. "Can we zoom?" she whispered to her viewers. Sarah Mitchell stood beside Marcus. She read the card too. No question. No reaction. Tom Reeves stood one step behind me. He didn't touch my shoulder, just close enough to see everything clearly. Marcus said, "This card, yours. I don't bring someone else's card." I said. Marcus looked at it longer, then at me, then at the ash on the floor. His hand lifted off the counter. Sarah asked Marcus, "Did you check?" Marcus didn't answer. He kept staring at the card. I pulled a tablet from my jacket, set it next to the card. The screen lit up. No extra steps. The internal system opened to the login interface. I placed my finger on the sensor. The screen shifted. Displayed. Board access. Carter Holdings centered on the screen. The entire room looked at the tablet. Marcus said quietly, "You can log in. You're watching it happen." I said. I swiped to the next page. The ownership section. The first line showed, majority share, 73%. A customer nearby asked, "So that means?" No one answered him. Marcus said, "Where did this come from?" "From the system you're working in." I said. I rotated the tablet so the text faced Marcus and Sarah. Tom leaned in to read it clearly. Sarah said, "You called the wrong person." Marcus exhaled. Not a sigh, just air leaving as he looked at the ash on the floor. I said, "The check you burned. You didn't look at the front." Marcus swallowed. "Can you show the original?" "There's no original." I said, "You used the lighter." Emily moved her camera closer, capturing Marcus's face. A customer whispered, "Think he's a top-level guy." Tom broke the silence. Mr. Carter, who do you want me to call? I said. Regional manager, Marcus said fast. I'll call. I looked at him. You should. Marcus stepped into the back room. The door closed. The room stayed quiet except for the air system. Sarah stood beside me. You're majority owner. I signed the documents 6 years ago. I said. No changes. She looked at the tablet, the card, then at me. No more questions. Tom said, I wasn't aware of any of this. I know. I said, you didn't burn the paper. The door opened again. Marcus returned with a taller man. Gray shirt, name tag. Daniel Cross. Regional manager. Daniel looked at me first. Mr. Carter. Yes. Daniel looked at the card, at the tablet, at Marcus. What happened here? I didn't speak. I let Marcus speak first. Marcus said, I thought his check wasn't real. Daniel asked, did you check the system? No. Did you call for verification? No. Did you check the check number? No. Daniel looked at the ash on the floor. What did you burn? Marcus didn't answer. I said, dividend. This quarter. Daniel turned to me. Do you have the digital version? I moved the tablet closer. Open the dividends tab. The list appeared. A payment of $2,347,000 USD sat at the top. Daniel looked for 3 seconds, then straightened up. All right. Tom stepped to my side. Not in front. Not blocking. Just repositioning, Marcus said quietly. I acted on instinct, Daniel replied. We don't use instinct here. The room stayed still. No one left. Emily pointed her camera at Daniel, then at me. I asked Marcus, you remember when I asked to review the paper? Marcus nodded. Yes. I asked more than once. He nodded again. Yes? I said. You ignored all of it. Daniel added. You burned documentation. With witnesses. On camera. Someone in the room whispered. That's it for him. I said to Marcus. Now you understand what I told you earlier. Marcus didn't answer. His hand rested near the counter. Not bracing. Not shaking. Just there. I checked the time. 59 p.m. I said. We're going to fix this step by step. Daniel nodded. Mr. Carter. I'm here to assist. I looked at Marcus. Stand where you are. He did. No objection. I picked up the white card from the counter. The tablet stayed open on board access. Still visible. And I said the closing line for this part. Loud enough for the room. Now it's time everyone knows who I am. But we'll go through it in the correct order. The room stayed still. No one left. No one spoke. The branch stayed exactly the same. The ash on the floor stayed where it was. The white card sat in my hand. The tablet still showed board access. Carter Holdings. Daniel Cross stood by the counter. Marcus stood to his left. His hand rested on the desk edge. Silent. I spoke first. Daniel. Review everything. Daniel nodded. Yes. I'm listening. I pointed at the ash by Marcus's feet. The check is in there. Daniel asked Marcus. Did you verify before you burned it? Marcus answered quietly. No. Daniel said. Did you check the customer's ID? Marcus. No. Daniel looked at me. How do you want to proceed? I slid the tablet to the personnel page. Marcus's name is at the top of the branch staff list. Clear details. Employee ID. Start date. Current position. I set the tablet on the counter. Turned to Marcus. It's all here. Marcus didn't react. His eyes stayed on the screen. I said, I'll ask again. Why did you burn it? Marcus answered, I thought it was fake. Based on what? I asked. He paused for a few seconds. Then said, based on you. The line dropped into the space between us. No one added anything. Daniel said, that's a direct violation of protocol. I answered, I know. Daniel asked. You want me to act now? I said. I'll speak first. I turned to Marcus. I'm not calling law enforcement, not filing a civil action, not revealing your name. Some customers shifted, like they heard wrong. I continued, I'm just restoring order. Marcus looked at me for the first time since Daniel arrived. Silent. I opened the authority page, tapped immediate action. Daniel watched. Didn't touch the tablet. Didn't suggest anything. I said to Marcus, You're no longer the branch manager. Marcus drew a breath. No argument. No excuse. I continued. You stay at the branch, but in a lower role, under Daniel's oversight. Daniel nodded. I'll handle it. I said. This isn't punishment. It's to keep this from happening again. Marcus said low. I understand. I looked at the ash one more time. Didn't touch it. Didn't pick it up. I said, The rest is restoring the protocol. Daniel asked, You want me to implement now? I want to do it here first. I said. I slid the tablet to the service protocol page. Placed it in front of Sarah. Checked the first contact section. This applies to every customer. Every single one. Sarah nodded. I understand. I said. All requests go through the system. No one gets judged by sight. Daniel said. I'll retrain the entire staff. I looked around the room. People are still watching. Phones are still recording. I said to Marcus, You keep today in mind. As a lesson, don't let it fade. Marcus answered, Yes. I stepped back. The tablet screen went dark. The white card rested in my hand. I said to Daniel, I'll return to this branch. No notice. Daniel answered, We'll be ready. I looked at Marcus one last time. A hoodie doesn't mean what you think it means. Marcus said nothing. I turned, walked through the crowd. No one blocked my way. No one spoke. As I passed the glass doors, Emily's phone remained aimed at me. No more loud comments. Just slow lines of text, sliding upward. Outside, the wind carried across my coat. I checked the time. San. 8 p.m. Not late. I left the branch. The door closed behind me. No echo. No slam. Just a quiet ending. Like the final frame of a scene. Want more moments where power shows itself at the exact right time? Subscribe to Black CEO Tales, where every story is sharp, cold, clear, and heavy enough without raising your voice. Black CEO Tales. When you stay calm, the room shifts.